The city of Bethlehem is known as the house of bread. If you know the Old Testament and you go back, you have Boaz and you have Ruth. She is gleaning grain there. It was the place, it was kind of like the bread basket of Israel. It was one of those places where they grew bread. It is set perfectly and it receives the right amount of rain to grow grain there. And so that was why it was known as the house of bread. The one that who would come out of that, where the people are fed, calls himself the bread of life. Jesus himself says, I am the bread of life. He is the one who came from heaven to feed the people, right? To feed them spiritually, to give them life. Not only that, it is known as the royal city. It is the city where David came. Micah is saying the kings that we've had are not as good as the one that we had when we had David. And from his line is supposed to come the one who is the greatest king ever, that the whole world will know who he is. And so he says, here is the royal city of David. And from that line, the line of David would be the one where the Messiah would come. This is why Joseph had to return to Bethlehem for the census, is because the one would come from this line, Mary as well. This is the royal city of David, the kingdom where God is king. And lastly, we know that he is going to be a shepherd leader, that he will shepherd his people. He would be great among men, and that he would be known throughout all of the world. Here you have a king. He is going to be a ruler. He is going to be divine. He is a humble beginnings. He begins his life humbly. We know that he is of ancient of days and that he is going to rule eternally. We know that he will be the Messiah and he is going to be the good shepherd. He is going to provide security for his people and he is going to provide peace. Does that sound like anyone you know? If you still don't know who he is, recognize this. 700 years before his birth, in a little town of Bethlehem that was chosen for his nativity, and still now, 2,000 years later, we celebrate his birth. We celebrate him. We celebrate his greatness. And those, we know that he was of old, that he is everlasting, and we know that his greatness now reaches how far? To the ends of the earth. Do nations worship him? Most definitely, because when I look around this room, I see there is many of us from many different nations who worship him. He has fulfilled this prophecy and he has fulfilled it completely. His kingdom is everlasting and you belong to that if you call yourself a Christian, if you worship him. So here's the question. If his greatness goes to the ends of the earth, has it reached you? Has it reached you?